everyone, and welcome to the LatinX Business Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Gomez, and if you're looking to demystify the world of business through the raw, authentic stories of Latinx entrepreneurs, you've come to the right place. As someone with an MBA and an IRS enrolled agent license, I've spent years helping freelancers, partnerships, and S corporations navigate the often tricky waters of the US tax law. Now, I'm bringing that expertise and passion to this community right here. So thank you for tuning in, and you know what? It's time to talk business. Hey, Freddie, welcome to the Latinx Business Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yes. I'm so glad we met in the group, and I'm even more excited to highlight people from the East Side that grew up in the East Side and that are entrepreneurs and they are Latinos and Latinas. So I'm very excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
So yeah, why don't we start with telling the audience who you are, what's the name of your company, and what services do you provide?
My name's Freddy Monares, and the name of our company is Product Development International.
Okay.
And for 35 years, we've been in the food service industry, but now we're expanding into the retail industry also.
Oh, and is that new as of this year, or when did that start?
Well, that's all pandemic related. We pretty strong in food service, and most if you eat a Hispanic dish in California, there's a good chance that you might have one of our items that we sell.
Okay, yeah, I know. Without giving names, but maybe could you tell us what kind of products we're eating that you helped to develop?
We've developed, I don't know if you ever had a sweet plantain in a restaurant but good chance that if you had a plantain, a fried plantain in a restaurant, Cuban, Mexican, Chinese, whatever ethnicity, it's probably ours.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, so many people have eaten fried plantains here in Big Change, right?
They're like candy. That's
they're so sweet. The sweetness gets the people. Yeah.
We do chile rellenos. We do horchata and things like that. Churros.
That you're calling my sweet tooth out, Freddie. I love chile rellenos. I love churros. All the good stuff. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
most of the time our items are low key because the restaurants want to serve something that the consumer thinks was made there. So.
Yeah. Well, and hence you're a broker, right? So you're the one making the deal between the companies that are producing the food or the product, and then you're getting it out into the big chain. So, all right. Yeah. Well, moving along here. And these are some of the questions I ask everyone. So feel free, you don't have to spend too much time on these, but what's your preferred pronoun? Like, what can people call you by? Freddy. Okay. That works, and that definitely works. So we'll go by Freddy. And within the Latinx community, how would you identify yourself?
I like Mexican American, but
okay.
I also feel some Chicano in me,
Okay. And why would you say Mexican American first before Chicano?
Because that's what I am. I'm an American, but I was raised by two Mexican parents, and our first language in the house was always Spanish, and so English literally was my second language. And so I grew up with posadas and capirotada and tortas de huevo and cuaresma and go to church and do all this stuff. So I feel like I'm an American, but I feel like I'm Mexican. So
yeah. So that's what you feel more comfortable with, and that's what you identify with. Yeah, and that's my point here with these two questions that I ask all my guests, because so much of it is a generational shift where, even the term Chicano, right? It's a very specific time period in our history here in Southern California that not too many people feel comfortable using that outside of California, but then there are people who will use it because they identify with the struggle too, right?
We across the street from our house, they had all the police buses lined up when the Ruben Salazar incident happened at Salazar Park. And that's where they were putting all the rioters or all the protesters in the buses.
Oh man, so you experienced that firsthand.
Oh yeah.
You must have been at a very young age you saw that. You saw people
Oh
being
yeah,
arrested.
I just remember it as a memory. I don't remember any like details.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember seeing the buses there and my parents saying something's going on.
Yes, yes, no, of course, and then if you're a child, your parents are just protecting you, of course, by all
Oh yeah.
means. So yeah, okay. So you did tell me that your parents are from Mexico. Would you want to elaborate a little bit what part of Mexico they're from?
Actually, my mother is from Zacatecas, a small town by the name of Jalpa,
Oh,
and
nice. Yes.
yeah, so we we feel like we're part from Jalpa, and she was very well known in her town. So when we would go over there as kid, it would take us 2 hours to walk 5 blocks.
You're saying hi to the whole neighborhood, huh?
Exactly, yeah. And if you didn't, you were rude. So
Oh yeah. No,
yeah,
definitely. Or shy. I know they would
right, right.
consider us pochos and pochas a little shy when we're young over there. And
Yeah.
what about your dad? What part of Mexico is he from?
Actually, my dad wasn't. Here's an interesting story. My dad was from New Mexico,
Okay.
a small town called La Mesa, and but he moved to Mexico when he was an infant, and his parents took him down there. And when he was 16, he told his mom he had to go sign up to march, or do his military service. And that's when my grandmother told him, "You were born in the States. You weren't born here." So.
Oh, interesting. Oh, so he was going in school in Mexico, believing he was
Yeah,
full-fledged
in Mexico,
Mexican.
you gotta actually
Yeah.
like the here register, and so he was gonna go register for the service, and his grandmother and his mom told him, "No, mijo, you were born in the United States. You weren't born in Mexico, so you don't have to register."
Wow.
And
Yeah,
my
what an experience.
yeah, so we. He grew up thinking he was Mexican, until he was 16. So
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Interesting. Okay. And so how did they end up here in the US? How did they your mom and your dad, how did they end up here? Did they cross
well, when my
by
dad found out he was American, he basically just came over here and started, looking for a job and started working and, had different jobs. My mom's story was a little different. She had a store in Mexico, and back in the
Mhm.
day, they used to sell oil for the lamps at night, and so they used to store the oil at a neighbor's house. And one of the neighbor's kids started playing with the oil and ended up getting burned. And so my mom felt like she had to come to the U.S. to make some money to pay for the kid's operation. And so
Oh
she
wow.
came over here and thought it was going to be a 6-month thing, or, and
Hmm.
she ended up going to go get her permit to come, I guess a visa. And when she got
Yes.
to Guadalajara, or to the consulate, they told her, "Hey, you have all your paperwork ready for a green card. Why don't you just get a green card?" And she said
Oh
the
my gosh.
immigration officer
Yeah.
actually had to talk her into a green card because she didn't want one. And so it could have been, if that immigration officer wouldn't have been so persuasive, we would have
Yeah.
probably been born in Mexico.
No, I mean, I don't even think you hear of that happening now,
Oh yeah,
where an immigration officer is so nice to an individual seeking some kind of visa
right.
or residency status. Wow, that is a story definitely to tell. I'm so happy you told that because you know what, those are the kind of stories that are not told or that are forgotten from generation to generation.
Oh
So
yeah,
it will live on the podcast show, you know.
great.
But yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. Let's move along to your business. And I know you're a food and retail broker now. How did you start in the industry? Can you take us through that journey?
How much time you got?
Well, it depends.
Right?
Time is precious, but no, of course, whatever time you need.
So the short version is that I used to sell copy, and
Copiers.
I
Okay.
came across I thought I wanted to be a CPA,
Mm-hmm.
and I started going to ULAC, and I took some classes, and one of them was Introduction to Sales. So the
Yes.
teacher said, "You should try this because I think you would really like it and you would do well." And so I tried it, ended up working for a copier company. And one of my customers that I sold the adding machine to, because they also sold the adding machine, was a food distributor.
Oh, yeah.
And so after I sold them the adding machine, they said, "Hey, why don't you come work for us?" And I go, well, I said, let's talk about it. And in the food industry, the commission rate is very low because you do so much business. And in the copier
Mm.
business, it was 20%, 25%, depending on the item you were selling. And so when they told me that, I said, no way,
Right.
And but thank God, my old boss, Juan Campos, he talked me into it, and I tried it, and I said, man, this is what I always wanted to do,
So
And
you found your passion.
yeah, I found my
Yeah.
passion in the food business, and it's everybody in the food business is for real. Right now, when I see all these news cast about people working in the restaurants and barely making it, that's all so true. It's people just trying to keep their employees working, and that's why most of them are open. So
Right.
support your local
Yeah.
restaurant.
No, yeah, definitely. Actually, I think they just announced today that they're gonna, in the city of Los Angeles, they have, what was it, $5 billion or five? I don't know the exact numbers, to be honest, because I just saw it recently, but they're gonna provide just for food restaurants some COVID relief money because it's getting tougher out there. And now the capacity of them even serving someone outside is no longer there. We're going into this safer at home status again, and it's really tough. I feel for them so bad. So yes, definitely order local. And yeah, I mean, hopefully things get better.
And it doesn't matter who you support. It could be a big national chain, or it could be a local mom and pop. The thing about it is that it's not so much how much they sell or how much food they sell, but it's like the people working there. If they're selling, these people are going to be working there. If they're not selling, they don't need employees.
Right. And you know what? You're right. It's about livelihood for me.
Right.
It's not about supporting the big corporation, making sure the big corporation stays afloat. It's that these people that are working in these restaurants, they're providing not only for themselves, but they could be for their children. It could be for a parent, or it could be for a family of 5, 6 people. You don't know. So yeah, actually my sister, when the pandemic started and we were ordering food out, even though you're ordering takeout, she would still say, she's like, we need to tip that 20% that we would tip because we were in the restaurant, but now, we're just bringing it home because it's not their fault, but also it's their livelihood. It's what these people live off of, right? So to me, livelihood is huge. So if I could help somebody out, I know we're not eating at the restaurant, but if I'm blessed enough to be able to give a 20% tip, then I'm gonna do it.
Right.
So yeah, definitely. So okay, how did you get from being in a food distribution company for much less commission to where you're at now as a self-employed individual?
You know what? It's there's a saying in Spanish, no hay mal que por bien no venga. I was working for a large Mexican-owned company, and they decided that they were going to downsize. That's when downsizing was, in fashion. And so I got downsized. I got let go. And
what year was this?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you, but it was probably like in 1990, around there.
In the 90s?
Yeah.
The reason I asked, because in the 90s is when a lot of companies started downsizing and moving operations to Mexico, to other countries with cheaper labor.
Yeah. So
okay, but continue.
So, well, they basically had to let me go, and when you're the employee, you think like, man, these guys, they did me wrong, and now that I'm an entrepreneur, I guess you call it. Now I realize, like, man, they had to let me go because the other guys weren't doing it, but I was, So by the next Wednesday, I had 16 job offers, and
whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, I got lucky because that weekend was a restaurant show. So I went down to the restaurant show, and all my friends were there, and they were like asking me how business was. And I told them the truth. I said, I got laid off. And they're like, what? Come work for us. And so, I consider that a job off. But my wife said, who are you going to work for? Which one are you going to take? I said, you know what? I'm not going to take any of them because I'll never be able to sleep again working for somebody, I said, I'd rather go sell peanuts on the freeway off-ramp than get a job, So I'm going to try and work for all of them. And that's how I started.
Wow. That is really your entrepreneurial side right there coming out, because to not take that offer, let me tell you, there's been I guess I should say something about myself right now, because that just reminded me about a time where, I am a tax accountant now. I do work for myself and I have my clients, but there was a time where I would be laid off every tax season because, a lot of small tax places are so seasonal,
Right.
right? So, and I remember thinking one day, I was like, I didn't go to school for this. Like, maybe I should consider leaving this field and going somewhere else.
Yeah.
But and trust me, I was like, there was this one time where I was going to get hired by Sunrun, which is a company that sells solar systems, and I'm like, well, that's the future, so I should go there, right?
Yeah.
I'll never be without a job ever again.
Yeah.
But then guess what? I went back to taxes, and I got another job in taxes, right? So I commend you for like making that decision at a time where like when so many people feel like so low and down when you're let go, because it's not an easy experience for anyone to experience, the fact that like a company you love doesn't want you anymore,
Yeah.
or think, right? So it's a very hard feeling to come to terms with. So I definitely commend you to say that you took the leap, and so yeah, that's amazing, dude, that you knew that you had value and that you were going to be able to use that
Yeah.
with your connections.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny.
Oh,
But
such a
right
good
now that you
story.
brought up value, I'll try to make it quick. I took some customers to dinner one time, and when the bill came, they took the bill away from me and they paid. And I go, hey, wait a minute,
Mm-hmm.
you're my customer. I should be paying. I invited you guys.
Yeah.
They're like, Freddie, don't worry about it. We don't consider you a vendor. We consider you an employee that takes care of all our inventory problems. If we have a problem with anything, we tell our employees, don't call us, call Freddie. Tell him to take care of it. And
Right.
they said, so even if he charges more, Fred, we would probably not leave you, And they said, now, if you gouged us, then we would leave.
That's a good
right? So,
way of putting it. Yes.
So that's right there. I learned the most important lesson. You always got to be listening.
Yeah, no, you know what? And it's so true because so many, I don't want to say our community as a whole because, it's not like that for everyone, but some people say, oh, Latinos don't have money, don't have good jobs, are not willing to pay like high premium prices for products or items.
Yeah.
But that's not the case, like the truth is that there's people out, in our community and in all communities that know that, like, you pay for value a lot of times.
Yeah.
And you pay for services and you don't pay for a physical item as much, but no, that's a great story. And, if there's anything anyone takes from today's podcast is to know their value and their worth in their work, because, I don't know how long you were working for that company, but I have an idea of like, even after like a couple of years of being in one location, you become an expert.
Yeah.
Your experience speaks volumes in terms of what you can bring to the table and what you can do. Now, whether somebody takes that experience and decides to go solo, what challenges or challenge have you faced specifically as a Latino entrepreneur?
You know what? I don't think it was as a Latino entrepreneur. I think it's just the overall entrepreneur where, cash flow, credibility, just the whole thing,
So do you think that was because you were a new entrepreneur, or is it because you weren't because sometimes people say, it's like, oh, they assist other people of other races more than Latinos.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When I started, I took the Latino part as an advantage.
Okay.
Because we're in California, and let's face it, it's now like I tell companies, like, look, we can go to the Ritz-Carlton and they buy product. We can go to UCLA, USC, Stanford, all these places, and they use our products. I mean, so why? I mean, because, people love our food and love our products. And honestly, I think that when you think that you have a problem as a Latino or whatever race, you're more, I guess you're putting that on yourself, because if you're the best out there, if you're the best then that should not matter.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
No,
it's
yeah.
like if you're a great accountant, whatever you do is you're going to be the greatest accountant ever, and everybody's going to be calling you. There's going to be people at your doorstep waiting to hire you.
Yeah.
But
No.
if you say, "Well, I'm Latino, that's why they don't want me," no, maybe it was that weren't willing to perform what they needed.
Yes. Or maybe there was someone that outperformed you. I think so
Exactly.
much of it is yeah, I think you're right. I think that part of it is like, that mind shift that we need to have as a group in general, and say like, we're gonna succeed regardless of, and just
Yeah.
keep pushing forward. Yeah.
See, my first sales job that I got in
Mm-hmm.
the copiers and adding machines, it was only for college graduates. And I told the guy, I go, you know what? I haven't graduated yet. He goes, oh, I can't hire you. Because and I just went into the East LA mentality, and I said, you know what? Let me tell you about what I've been through and what I've done and what I've gotten so far. And I started just
Mm.
telling the guy, like, look, you know what? I had the nicest car in East LA when I was like 19 years old because I wanted it. It wasn't because
Yeah.
and so they hired me, and
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that hustling mentality, that do or die, you either sink or you swim, right?
exactly, yeah.
So you needed that job, so you were gonna put everything in
Yeah,
your
I've never believed it's not whether you win or lose, how you play the game. I always
hmm
tell the kids that's BS because if you don't win, you don't get paid.
Right. So in your journey of being an entrepreneur, what financial lessons have you learned that you would want to share with the audience?
Oh, you know what? I mean, so many like pay your taxes. Try and pay everything. Try not to go overboard. On your expenses. Live within your means. Because that's helped us so much that it's I mean it's if you go over your means, that's usually when people say I ran out of money, I couldn't do it anymore. And
Right.
that's where you just start I mean, yeah, you because the problem is you start hanging out with people with a lot of money, and then you want to kind of behave like them, and you can't. So
Right.
just know your place, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and it's being mindful of, what this new field you're playing in, because you're right. Working with high net worth individuals and with people who have money and capital and that are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on new products. I mean, it's looks fun, and it looks like, hey, I want to be one of them, and I want to be there, and so you
Yeah.
start buying that expensive clothes and those
See,
high end brands.
and most of those they were where you're at right now, so they'll understand.
hmm
It might even work to your advantage to not try and act like them.
Interesting. Yeah. So instead of trying to fit in, just stand out.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. So what about, okay, so you did say to live within your means. How have you used that right now during the pandemic? And let's talk about that. How has your business been affected by the pandemic?
Well, you know what? Thank God that we were doing pretty good when the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden 90% of our income went away.
Yeah.
And of our sales that first week, 90% of our sales just went away. And so we were like, oh man, now what? So had to start making decisions that we ended up laying off people. And we just started, hey, you know what, networking and trying to find solutions. And
Mm-hmm.
luckily the government came through with some assistance and helped us get back on our feet a little bit. And then
Yeah.
people's resilience in the restaurant started ordering again. So just a lot of that stuff. So it's just you got to be realistic all the time. And if you can, you can. If you can't, then it's like I told my people, look, I said, if we don't survive, then none of us are going to get a paycheck.
Right.
So you want to stay home and avoid going out, then that's fine. I'll support you. But if we run out of money and we can't pay you, then that's it.
Right. It's
And
what's funny that you bring that up, because so many businesses were posed with those decisions this year. And I think so many companies have never had to do that in the same amount of time, right?
Right, right.
And it is so tough because you want to support your employees because they want to stay safe, and you don't. What if they care for an elderly at their house, or if they have children as well,
Exactly.
but you're right. Like at the end of the day, you still are posed with like, do I go into work? Do I not go into work? And is there work first of all, right? Because
Yeah.
there was a couple months where it was kind of dire for everyone. Everything was
Oh,
shut
yeah.
down. But
No, and those first weeks, I mean, I think everybody was home, all
mhm.
our people. Yeah.
So were you able to rehire most of your staff back? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, everybody's back.
That's great. That's a good success story because that is what the PPP loans were supposed to
Exactly.
do. They were supposed to help you to get back on your feet, to rehire the
Yeah.
folks that were with you before.
My PPP loan went 100% to payroll.
So happy and glad that you were able to use your full entire PPP loan to rehire your staff back and not have to lay off people, like full-time layoffs.
Yeah,
But
you know what happened was that we had the books, we had all the records, we had everything in order. So
mhm.
when all these loans started coming out, we had all the information to be able to report all that.
Yeah.
And so that's what really helped.
So that's the importance of having good books for the company, right? Having a good
Uh-huh.
bookkeeper and having books where you're able to print out a couple of reports in a matter of seconds versus doing hand accounting or maintaining your records by hand through like an
Right.
Excel sheet.
Yeah.
And so many people when they first start their companies, they do start their companies by keeping receipts and invoices, and that's great because there's no real law or rule that any business has to follow in maintaining the books. But once you have your books set in place, it's going to allow you to make business decisions that you can make on the fly or within a matter of minutes, versus
Right.
taking 2-3 weeks to pump out a report that took 20 hours to create, right?
Yeah.
So no, yeah, that's a great lesson there. Well, question: How can in the food and broker retail space, how can we get more Latinx products out there into the country? So, do you just focus on Southern California, or do you also help them get products out to the rest of the U.S.?
We focus a lot more on the West Coast.
On the West Coast, okay.
Yeah. But it's like I tell everybody, all these companies like Campbell's and Hershey's and all these guys, if you watch their stories, they start off, making candy in their garage or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
they just started exploding, and a lot of these companies that you see now out in the market, they started off small, and
Mm-hmm.
the actual owner, went out and did the legwork, and went to the store and said, "Man, I make the best salsa. You got to try it." And they had crackers with them, and they would put on a cracker and have the guy try it and say, "Oh, this is great. Leave me a case. We'll try
Mm-hmm.
and sell it." And they just did the footwork one by one. I think the problem right now is a lot of companies, they want to hire people. They come up with an idea, and then they want to hire people to go do it for them. And nobody's gonna do it the way you would do it. So I think if you really want to get out there,
Mm-hmm.
do the legwork in the beginning. Don't hire anybody. Just go out there and get it done, because nobody's gonna sell your product just the way you do.
So your advice is to have someone that has a product to sell their own product, not to get someone to sell it for them.
Yeah, go out there and sell your own product. And you got to develop a strong base,
Mm-hmm.
a strong foundation,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can go out. Because let's say you got a salt,
Yes.
and you make it in California, and all of a sudden now, you know what? I'm gonna go to Chicago. I'm gonna go to Texas. I'm gonna go to Florida. I'm gonna go to New York, and I'm gonna start pushing it there. And you're just starting off. You're gonna be stretched too thin, that you're not gonna be able to service your customer like you would love to be serviced. So in other words, it's if you start local and you stay local for a while till you get strong, then you can afford to say, okay, you know what? Let's jump over to the next town, and let's jump over to the next town after that. And once you get a little more popularity, then it'll be easier.
Okay. No, that's good sound advice. I like that. And so how about getting your products in other parts of the world? Is it something that you guys do, or is it just something that you stay away from?
Other parts of the world? Or,
yeah.
You know what? There's since we are a broker, our job is to like build up this area. And so like if you went to New York, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
there would probably be another broker over there you could work with, and they would help you.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to toot my own horn, but, a lot of the companies we've represented for, some 20 years, some 15 years. And they all kind of say the same, like, Fred, we like that you take ownership of this stuff and, you work it like it's yours, He said it's hard to find a broker that really cares, so be careful,
right,
when you're going out there looking for people.
Yeah, I guess so many people are looking to make that quick sale versus actually taking the time to take care of their client. And yeah, that I think that pegs the question of like how fast you want to grow as well, right? Because I feel like once there's an entrepreneurial spirit in you, you're like, oh my God, like this could get big. This, you'd start thinking like, how big can this get? And imagine what this would create for my family. And I love the way, the entrepreneurs think, and we think big, but sometimes we think really, really big in the beginning when we should be thinking about right now and the next day. But no, I appreciate that. Thank you. So tell me, if someone wants their product out there or wants to get your help or your services, how would they get a hold of you?
I think the probably email would be the best,
Okay, what's your email address?
Freddy, FREDDY, M as in Maria, at pdiworldfood.com.
Okay. Now, before I go into my next question, let me take a step back and actually tell you that, I will put that in the notes. If someone wants to reach out to you, they can shoot you an email, and then they can initiate conversations with you there. But in the beginning, you were telling me that you are also becoming a retail broker because of the pandemic. Can you explain that a little bit more and how that happened?
Well, what we were doing was we were visiting chefs every day, and restaurant owners, and just people running food service operations. It could be anything from a little catering truck up to a big university or a hospital or anything like that. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to get into the retail. We were already selling retail, but we were selling them in their food service operations, which is like the delis at all these Mexican markets, or like if somebody wanted to serve a ready meal, that was considered food service. So now retail is more like the shelf and the frozen case, and we want to sell our products that we were selling to the restaurant owners. We want to make them available for the consumer at home.
Oh, okay. So it's still within the food industry, but now it's just another sector of the food industry. Got it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and so
there's so many sectors of the food industry. You'd be surprised.
So how did the pandemic push you to try to work that avenue some more?
Well, all the restaurants, like, they were closed when it first started. So like I told you before, 90% of our sales went away. We have a big segment that used to buy maybe 6 truckloads of product a month, and every truckload weighed 40,000 pounds.
Yikes.
And that immediately went away with the pandemic.
See.
So that's about $200,000 in sales gone overnight.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about how, in times of adversity and in times of necessity, you are forced to shift. You're forced to change routes. So if you could provide the same products but at retail, and people can go into the grocery stores and be able to buy these and have a safe option at home, and you're still able to continue your business, you're still able to provide sales for the company you're working for. So it comes full circle to me. So to me, I'm thinking this pandemic has forced you to think about other ways that you can generate revenue, which is great, but also this might be a sustainable practice moving forward, where you can be able to utilize, products that are made from these restaurants, but at the retail store, or they can provide that. Yeah. No, I love that. Okay. Yeah. So I'm really glad I went back, because that was a doubt. I kept thinking, I was like, oh, I need to go back to this,
Yeah,
Um,
I'm glad
for
you
sure,
did.
for sure. Okay, so what about so yeah, this actually is my last question. What
Okay.
about takeaways for our community? Is there a book or a quote that you live by that you would recommend someone to read or go pick up? Like what has helped you in your business journey?
You know what? So many things, that are amazing in my life is, I don't know if you know, but I had a stroke 5 years ago, and it was the day
No.
before Thanksgiving,
Okay.
and my whole left side was gone, and the thing that kept me going was, my faith,
Yeah.
and all the support I had from my family just was incredible, So if there's something I would do is just I guess my faith. I've been watching mass every day with my mother, and it's just like you realize how, even though in the middle of this pandemic you're so lucky.
Yes. Definitely we have to be counting our blessings at the moment.
Yeah.
I think that,
But the one book
mhm.
that I think that everybody, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, needs to read is the one. It's by Dale Carnegie. It's Stop Worrying and Start Living.
Okay, so it's called
Stop Worrying and
Mhm.
Start Living.
Stop Worrying and Start Living.
Yeah.
And that's by Dale Carnegie. All
Dale
right.
Carnegie.
I would definitely have that one in the notes as well for people to take a look at because, so much of who you are now and what you're doing now with your own business and being self-employed means, all your past experiences come to
Yeah.
fruition now. So I'll definitely have that there for people to take a look at. But Freddie, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think, have provided a wealth of information, and anyone listening is going to gain so much insight. So I appreciate your time today. But yeah, thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. It was an honor.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and share this podcast with your network. Your support helps our LatinX business community grow stronger with every listen, and I truly invite you to connect with us. Send us your questions, your comments, or even your own business stories to randy@rgtaxes.com. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, keep learning, keep building your business, and keep growing your business mindset.